Four main people that impacted the art in the Renaissance: Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, and Raphael. The impact of these people through the Renaissance was unimaginable. They shaped the world of art and music to be the way it is today, and today we will be sharing their stories.
Michelangelo was born on March 6, 1475, and died at the age of 88 on February 18, 1564, of a brief illness. He was a famous painter, sculptor, engineer, architect, and poet during the Renaissance. His most well-known pieces of art include The Head of Fawn, The Last Judgment, Sistine Chapel Ceiling, and Pita.
Donatello was the first born in 1386 and died in 1466. He was the first insight to the world of art. He was the first major impact on art and being considered the best sculptor till the time of Michelangelo. His most memorable pieces of art include St. Mark, St. George Tabernacle, and the Feast of Herod.
Leonardo da Vinci was so famous that he was known as the Renaissance Man because of his works in science, art, and mathematics. He was born on April 15th, 1452, and died on May 2nd, 1519, at the age of 67. Some of his most notable artifacts include the Mona Lisa, the Last Supper, and the Virgin of the Rocks, etc. Leonardo was one of, if not the smartest people of the Renaissance. He even invented the depth in paintings. You know how in some paintings or pictures there are some things that look close up and others that look far off in the distance? This is something that Leonardo da Vinci created after he noticed how things looked in the distance in the world around him.
Raphael Sanzio was a famous painter and architect from the Renaissance. He was born April 6, 1483, and he died on April 6, 1520. He was 37. Raphael Sanzio's most famous paintings were School of Athens, Sistine Madonna, and the Transfiguration.
During Michelangelo's time, he achieved much wealth and fame. He grew up in Florence, attending a local school. He tended to ignore his education to pursue drawing. As a kid, Michelangelo mastered painting at the age of 13. Art was a main part of his life.
He was born and grew up in Florence, Italy. He died on December 13th, 1466. He never really attended anything you could consider a school, but his first education sittings took place in a goldsmith shop, where he learned to get a craftsmanship education. Donatello ended up stopping his time crafting and took up his crazy passion for painting and sculpting.
Leonardo da Vinci started his training from a man named Verrocchio at the age of 14. This is what started him out as a painter. As Leonardo da Vinci got better, he got his own pupils and trained them to be famous artists as he was.
Raphael was middle class as a kid. He received basic training from his father. He grew up in Urbino, Italy. His mother died when he was 8, and his father died when he was 11.
He never invented anything, but he had influence on art and people working in art. Raphael was strongly influenced by Michelangelo, as well as ceiling painters and many others. He was rightly viewed as a genius.
Donatello was never really an inventor. He was more or less someone who followed the original plans that they needed to get done. But he invented a technique in his sculpting commonly known as the Shicadio, which is still used today in modern sculpting. He had a student known as Michelozzo, which had finished his final piece of work that he could not finish, as him and many others were influenced by Donatello to explore the world of art.
Leonardo da Vinci's most famous religious mural was The Last Supper. It is his only surviving religious mural today. The other painting of his that survived today is the Mona Lisa.
Raphael never invented anything. He was only known for his art and architecture. He influenced painters. He changed the way people looked at art. He was thought to be one of the most detailed painters.
Michelangelo influenced the Renaissance a lot. He had an influence on the development of Western art. Michelangelo, as well as Leonardo da Vinci and Raphael, is one of the three giants of the Florentine High Renaissance. His works in architecture, painting, and sculpture inspired numerous of his people. He met many living artists, philosophers, writers, and thinkers of that day. He contributed much to art historians. with his unique styles and techniques.
Leonardo da Vinci's most notable inventions include the armored car, the tank, the aerial screw, the helicopter, and although not used very much, the large crossbow, which eventually ended up being the gun. Without these great inventions, we would not have common technology that we have today to make transportation easier and to keep us safe.
Raphael was known as the genius of the High Renaissance. Raphael put realistic emotions onto his art. He impacted art a lot. He changed the way people looked at painting. He made people think of personality when looking at art. He painted emotional themes. Raphael influenced painters up to the 1900s. He changed the art world.
The world would not be the same as it is now if artists from the Renaissance never existed. Think of a world to which the paintings you see, such as the Mona Lisa without depth, or an average painting that has a view to it. Everything would be two-dimensional. Also, there would most likely be very little paintings, if any at all. Paintings and sculpting also makes many people who they are today, because if there were never paintings to inspire people today, and the only types of paintings and sculptures you saw were of religious beliefs, most people would not have made things that greatly impacted things today. If there was no such person as Leonardo, the inventions, sculptures, and paintings we see today would have never existed. The world would have been taken advantage of and thought of someplace to live. There would be nothing to strive for when it came to trying to find beauty in the world. The world would be a boring place. What could you come up with to what the world would look like? Would we be ruled over by Germany? Would the world be blank and boring? Would there even be anything to enjoy in the world rather than just live? We owe that to you.